In compliance with Governor Newsom's Executive Order N-2920, in response to the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak, the district will conduct the Board of Education's meeting as a teleconference. Given the health risk associated with COVID-19, the Newport-Mesa Unified School District has decided not to open the boardroom to the public. Spanish interpretation will be available via the Zoom link. Roll call, Rosie.
Trustee Yelsey,
Here.
Trustee Barto,
Here.
Trustee Matoye,
Here.
Trustee Anderson,
Here.
Trustee Crane,
Here.
Trustee Wygand,
Here.
Trustee Ursulin,
Here.
Mr. Lee-Sung.
Here.
Community input on closed session agenda items only. I believe we have one comment. Trustee Matoye, would you please read
The thing. Yes.
the statement?
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items on the closed session agenda via electronically submitted comments. Each speaker has 3 minutes of comment read time, and per board bylaws 9323, there is a maximum of 20 minutes of comments per topic. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments, depending on the topic and the number of persons submitting comments. All comments are recorded in full on the meeting video record.
Thank you. We have one comment. Trustee Anderson?
Yes, this comment is from Dan Eady. I have 3 kids at Newport Heights Elementary School. When are they going to go back full time? With the CDC now saying that schools can open safely, what is the holdup? Private schools have been open full time for the entire year without incident, and I think that everyone would like to know the exact reasons why it is unsafe for public schools to be fully open. I have always been the biggest proponent of public schools in our district, but with the lack of leadership, my opinion has changed. You all have failed our kids. The hybrid system is a joke, and the effect that it has on kids is beyond repair. Our leaders say follow the science. Well, the science says open the schools. If parents don't feel safe sending their kids to school, then they should enroll them in the cloud campus. If teachers don't feel safe going to work, then they should teach in the cloud campus or go find another job where they feel safe. You all have failed our kids, the parents, and the community who once thought this district was the best in the nation.
Thank you. We will now move to closed session. The items are 4A, conference with legal counsel, 1 case. 4B, conference with legal counsel, 2 potential cases. 4C, threat to public services or facilities. 4D, conference with labor negotiator. 4E, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, employment. And 4F, public employee dismissal, discipline, dismissal, release, employment, number 202101 HR. We will return to the open session at 6 p.m. with a readout. So please, we will recess to closed session, and all board members, please join us there. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular board meeting. We came in from closed session in compliance with Governor Newsom's Executive Order N-2920, and in response to the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak, the district will conduct the Board of Education's meeting as a teleconference. Given the health risk associated with COVID-19, the Newport-Mesa Unified School District has decided not to open the boardroom to the public. Spanish interpretation will be available via the Zoom link. The meeting is starting exactly at 6 p.m. We will now have opening ceremonies, a moment of reflection, and Pledge of Allegiance, led by Trustee Matoye, please. Please rise. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In closed session, there was no action taken on item number 202101 HR. Before we get to the adoption of the agenda, I just wanted to make a comment. Last week, our board, superintendent, and cabinet attended a board governance workshop. And we do this every couple of years. And we talk about ways to better work together as a cohesive board. And one of the takeaways for all of us was that our board meetings are too long. And we start, for example, in closed session today at 2:30. We've sometimes been getting out of here at 10:30, 11 o'clock if we have to go back into closed session. And we really feel that we should be able to do our business in a shorter period of time. So we are going to try that. We are asking the people involved in our meeting to help us out with that. So I'm asking anyone giving reports, for instance, our student board members, our Harper Council, our associations, to limit your talks to 3 minutes max. If you have something to say, great. And we don't want to rush anything to the point where, oh, we just have to keep on a time schedule. We want to be thoughtful in how we address everything on our agenda, but we're just to see if we can be a little bit more efficient. So with that, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Adoption of the agenda. Second.
Roll call. Trustee Barto moved, trustee Motoye seconded. Roll call. Yes.
Yes. Trustee Motoye? Yes. Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Ursuela, can you?
Now I can hear you. It was mute for a while. So yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Adoption of the minutes from 1/11/21, 1/12/21, 1/26/21, 2/4/21.
Adoption of the minutes from those meetings. Second.
It was moved by trustee Barto, seconded by trustee Anderson. Roll call vote.
Trustee Nielsen?
It's hard with mask on to see. Seconded by trustee Wigan. Roll call vote.
Trustee Nielsen?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Crane? Yes. Trustee Wiggin? Yes.
Okay, item 10, introduction of new staff. We're very pleased tonight. I think I can turn this over to Ms. Olson.
As you are
review team, as well as coaching new teachers. And in fact, she has experience providing district-wide staff development, professional development around the depth and complexity icons. So she's known to be a team player. People respect her highly. They see her as a problem solver and one who can bring people together. So we are just absolutely delighted to announce her as the principal currently throughout the end of the year for Killybrook Elementary. And Laura, welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, President Yelsey, Board Trustees, Mr. Lee-Sung, Cabinet, and guests. I just want to express my sincere thanks for the opportunity to serve the students here at Killybrook and the Costa Mesa community.
Laura, thank you so much. It's nice seeing you on Zoom. We wish you were here with us, but it is nice seeing your entire face. So we will recognize you when we do see you in person. And welcome. We're so pleased that you're here.
We are very fortunate. I'll just tell a quick little story about Laura as she was interviewing, and it shows to how she is flexible and adapts, that the lights went off in her room that she was Zooming into us, and she had to do a little dance to get the lights back on, and she did just seamlessly and continued the interview. It was just outstanding. So again, welcome, Laura.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have student board member reports, and I believe our roll call vote will be taken by Elizabeth Levy tonight, and we have two other board members speaking, Madeline and Luca. So Elizabeth, would you like to speak first?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and for Cloud Campus, we received 98 responses from our 7th through 12th graders. Regarding academic stress, it was pretty evenly divided between those feeling stressed and those that aren't. 44% of students surveyed felt less stressed, and 46% of students surveyed felt more stressed on a scale from 1 to 10. Regarding academic preparedness, more students felt prepared than unprepared. 79% of those surveyed rated their preparedness between a 6 and a 10 on their scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the most prepared. So about half of Cloud Campus students feel stressed and half not as stressed. Keeping up with that pace makes people stress. If you procrastinate, you get behind, and stressed is what they said. Academically, the majority of the students at Cloud Campus feel prepared. Most students are feeling more confident with managing the material than they did first semester. Many students spoke positively and about the ability to easily ask questions of their teachers. They also believed that the homework expectation was fair. Specifically, I asked students to comment on their experience with Florida Virtual. Most students think positively of Florida Virtual. A common theme is that the introduction or review of material from the teacher improves the understanding of the Florida Virtual modules. One comment regarding Florida Virtual stated that while I'm enjoying the material of the classes, I do still think that making class less of a webinar and more interactive would make it so much more engaging and feel like I was in normal class again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Maddie. Next we have, I'm sorry, Elizabeth. Next we have Maddie McNamara from Back Bay.
Hi, my name is Nala McNamer. I represent Back Bay Monte Vista High School. At Back Bay High School, 57% of students took our How Are You Feeling survey. Though many of our students admit to being lazy in their distant learning time, we also found that students lost motivation because of lack of student-teacher interaction. Between the masks and distant learning, everything feels a little bit foreign. We asked the students if they felt that the trimester system was beneficial in making up credits. The majority of students felt that the trimester system but preferred the quarter system more. Many students struggle with staying focused for a 12-week course and believe that they can better perform in a 9-week course. The percentage of kids who prefer the quarter system was 79%. We are very happy with the positive response that we received to the question, do you feel Back Bay is doing all they can to help you become prepared for your future? 81% of students felt like Back Bay is doing their job correctly. on helping them be more prepared / excited for their future. We followed up with a question of asking what more Back Bay and NMUSD school board can offer to help students. The top 3 answers were access to more mental health counselors and having a counselor that is available more often / full-time, and tutoring. In conclusion, students are feeling more stressed than they normally would due to the fact of distant learning and COVID. Most students at Back Bay filled out, if we were on a quarter system, it would be easier to keep up with academics and graduation requirements. They understand the opportunity of being able to catch up on a 100 credits in 1 year instead of the current 75 credits. Also, they need a full-time counselor is a top priority and concern for students as a whole. So, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Madam.
Madam. And next we have Luca.
From Costa Mesa High School.
Hello, President Yossi, Superintendent Lee Sung, board trustees, and attendees. At Costa Mesa High School, about 72% of the students who were asked to complete a survey felt at least a 5 out of 10 about stress in regards to preparedness for classes, with 10 being not stressed at all. Most of the answers were in the 7 to 8 range. So most of the students are not particularly stressed about being prepared for their classes. Around 60% of the respondents felt a little rushed at least about one of their classes or some of their classes and thought the pace should be slowed down a little bit for them. And as someone who is enrolled in multiple APs, I can attest to that as well. About 84% of respondents felt like they understood the material taught to them at least a 5 out of 10, with 10 being understanding very well. And most of the answers were in the 5 to 6 range. So possibly being a little rushed, and with online learning and the whole COVID situation, it is definitely a little harder to understand the material. And when asked about the overall quality of hybrid learning, most students felt good about it, but many highlighted being unmotivated and having monotonous days, as well as not understanding some difficult topics very well. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Luca, and thank you to all the board members. I think stress is a word we hear quite often from students these days, and it concerns us as well, and we'll continue to work on it. Next, Harper Council PTA report. I believe I saw Lisa Bowler here. Is Lisa on?
I don't see her now.
I saw her before the meeting started.
She should be logging back.
Is she in?
She's in.
Lisa?
I'm here.
Ah, there.
Can you hear me? Nope. Karen, I think I'm on now. Good evening, Superintendent Lee Sung, President Yelsey, board members, cabinet, and guests. Our PTAs are working hard on getting our business together. We are working on getting our nomination slates for next year's officers up and running. Our elections will be next month in March. We've been working on our mid-year audits, and most of them are being completed this month. All of our schools completed their workman's compensation forms, so we are all good with our insurance company. We are up to 3,800 memberships, so please, everyone, go on Join Totem and join the school of your choice. They would love to have you all be members. And then at our last meeting last week, we had a special presentation from Yarib Deming from Inside the Outdoors, which is a program through the Orange County Department of Ed. And he talked about virtual field trips that are available for our schools, and also field studies where their camera takes the kids out into the field and talks about the different animals and plants, etc. He told us about opportunities that the schools in Newport Beach and the schools in Costa Mesa have to take some free. City of Newport Beach has a couple water things that are available, and the Costa Mesa Sanitation Department has some virtual information for our Costa Mesa schools. So there are also some other opportunities out there for all schools in Orange County. So hopefully some of our schools will be able to take advantage of that. Also, Vanessa Gailey came and spoke to us on the LCAP, the Local Control and Accountability Plan. And it was very informational for our presidents, who a lot of them had really no idea what it was. And she can explain things, as you all know, in very easy to understand terms. So thank you, Vanessa, for that. And then lastly, Superintendent Lee Sung spoke to us on the reopening of our secondary schools and what's happening COVID-wise. So all is good in PTA. Join the PTA, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Next we'll have NMFT President Tamara Fairbanks.
Good evening. I would like to congratulate Emily Matthews and Dennis Ashendorf as our candidates for the Orange County Teacher of the Year. They represent the excellence in teaching that is demonstrated on a daily basis from our teachers. Throughout this year, our teachers have navigated through this pandemic with tenacity and grace. They entered the school year in distance learning with the most challenging of circumstances to finally get a grasp of the hybrid schedule and still provide a great quality education. They did this because they love what they do. Since March of 2020, teachers never stopped working. They have learned new technology, upgraded their personal internet, lobbied to make sure that their students receive proper tech, interacted with parents, and spent their summers preparing for school during the pandemic. They took extra safety measures to make sure they were able to come to work. Many isolated themselves from their own families in order to not get anyone sick. They worked until 8 o'clock at night because they did not have the time to do their work during the school day. These teachers have done their best to protect their students and their families in the midst of the deadliest surges in California history. Our staff has stood against viruses, working our best, and sometimes gets villainized on social media. No matter what anyone may say, we will stand up for safety in our classrooms. We will stand up for the quality of our work. We will stand up for our students' safety, and we will not be diminished by misinformation. Our students' lives matter, our work matters, and we matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. And we all also congratulate Emily and Dennis. Great choices, and hopefully we can celebrate them here at a future meeting. Next, we have Csea President Pam Saunders.
Good evening, President Yelsey, Board, Superintendent Lee Sung, Cabinet, and guests. Thank you for this opportunity from Csea. First and foremost, we'd like to thank our classified employees throughout our district. We are very grateful to every classified employee for doing their part and all their hard work. We all are still very concerned about the safety of students and staff at schools and work sites. There is a continued impact to our district workforce. This means there is still less staff available to perform essential duties. This creates an unsafe environment for students as the remaining staff is overworked, stressed, and scared. For the continuity of instruction and to provide peace of mind and safety for our employees, we ask the district to provide all staff and students the opportunity to be vaccinated before a change in our educational model is considered. We'd like to remind everyone to wear a mask and social distance during the holidays next week. Again, thank you again for this opportunity. Csea Chapter 18.
Thank you, Pam. Item 13 is community input on agendized items, but we do not have any comments on agendized items. So
Yeah,
Yes, we
actually, we
do.
do, and
Yeah.
for discussion action.
we have yeah, we do.
Yeah,
But that's
for discussion
agendized.
action.
Oh, we're taking those now? I thought we'd take
Yeah,
them.
we'll take it later, yeah.
Okay,
We'll
we're going
take
to
them
take
later. Do you
discussion.
want me to read it later then?
16.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read
You
it?
can read
read it
it.
at
You
the
can
time.
read it now. We'll take,
Well, it's your preference, President Yelsey.
Now,
you can read them now. We'll take them. We have 15 comments on
Gotcha.
one discussion action. We'll take that at the time, but you can read it now.
got it. That took an extra minute. I apologize. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items on the regular meeting agenda via electronically submitted comments. Each speaker has 3 minutes of comment read time, and per board bylaw 9323, there is a maximum of 20 minutes of comments per topic. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments, depending on the topic and the number of persons submitting comments. All comments are recorded in full on the meeting video record.
Superintendent Lee Sung, normally you would give a superintendent report now about comments that were made, but do you have any comments you'd like to make anyhow in advance?
Yeah, I would like to make a few comments at this time, if I may. So first of all, it's something that we've been working on. We've been hearing comments every now and then about when are we going to get to the point where we would allow members of the public to provide public comments and use their own voice. And so I do want to share that we've been working on that actually for several weeks since we were able to come back in person here in the boardroom. That immediately when we took that step, the next step we wanted to do was to figure out a process where we can have members of the public, rather than submitting comments in writing, which of course our trustees have to read on their behalf, we would much rather, I think the board would agree with me on this, we'd much rather have members of the public be able to speak their comments themselves. And so we're working on a process for that. We plan to test that, and hopefully by our next regular board meeting in March that we'll be able to implement that with some new procedures to again have our public be able to participate via Zoom. We still don't have the ability to have everybody in the boardroom, but at least they can participate in Zoom. And if we have their name and they submit comments, we would be able to call them up to be able to verbally give their comments directly to the board. So we think that's the next step. And I just want to let our board know and our public know that we're working on that and hope to have that for the March meeting. Okay. Cool. And a couple things related to COVID and the vaccine. I know the vaccine has been on everybody's mind. And I just want to share some information, some that has already been reported and some new information as well. So first of all, I just want to repeat this. We've already notified our employees who are health employees, district employees, that they're currently eligible for the vaccine, as well as our staff who works with our special needs students. And also we know 65 plus, whether they're district employees or not, they are eligible right now as well. And we're working very closely with the Orange County Department of Education in hopes that we can get our 65-year-old plus into the queue sooner than later. So I know some have already gotten the vaccine, some are waiting, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that we are working very closely with Orange County Department of Ed, who's working closely with the Orange County Healthcare Agency to see if we can support that and make that as efficient and quick as possible. Another thing I want to clarify is educators, which were earlier identified in 1B, Tier 1, is still 1B, Tier 1. There's been a lot of talk about age-based criteria and all of that, and there was a lot of discussion, debate about whether educators would remain at that priority level. And we did get confirmation. It is on the CDPH website. Educators are still 1B, still Tier 1. We have to get through the majority of 1A first, is what I'm hearing from the county, before we can start 1B with the educators. So we're getting closer, but not yet. Getting closer, but not yet. And they're anticipating that that will begin sometime at the end of February, early March, okay? I know we all want it sooner, but 65-year-olds were given priority. And I want to say, based on the data, that is the right decision. I get to meet with our Orange County Health Director every week, along with the other Orange County superintendents, and he stated that it is saving lives. And it's also helping the capacity at the hospitals and the ICUs, which is good for everybody. So we will get there in terms of educators. Obviously, the biggest issue continues to be the limited supply that we all hear about in the news. We heard that Johnson & Johnson got submitted their application, so we're hoping that gets approved as scheduled by the end of this month, which will greatly increase the supply for everybody. Now, related to COVID data, our COVID dashboard is alive and well. I will tell you, myself and staff, we check it every day and we monitor that. And during the weeks after the holidays, the winter break, it was pretty high. It was pretty high. And I'm happy to say that since about the third week in January, it has been steadily declining. And we've been monitoring that. And the good thing is that it's been spread out throughout the schools. And so we've been able to keep our schools open, which has been the direction of this board and the support of the board. The other thing is that the county comes out with updated numbers every Tuesday. So again, I look at the numbers every Tuesday, and sure enough, the pattern, the downward pattern continues. And so even though we're still in the purple tier, we are declining in both new case rate as well as positivity rate each week. But I want to remind people, we're still in the purple tier. And just like we've heard from already several people here, how important it is that we continue to follow all the protocols that we know, particularly leading into the President's Week, where people will have time off and some will travel, but we need to make sure we follow the protocols because we want to get to that red tier. We want to get down to these lower tiers because what that means, obviously we want to stay open. We want to, how about athletics? Okay, we want to get more athletics back out on the field and they're doing what they do best. And we got to get to the red tier to get to that next level of sports. And so we need everybody's collective help on that. And I want to say that we as a staff, and particularly our employees in human resources, health services, student services, have done amazing work in doing the contact tracing, notifying people, doing the tedious work to make sure that we're tracking all of this. We also drafted during these last few weeks in the holidays or after the holidays, we drafted assistant principals to help out and directors and coordinators, a real team effort to make sure we do that. And I also want to thank our substitute teachers. How often do we talk about our substitute teachers? They are more critical than ever right now. And not only are substitutes in the pool, but teachers and other staff members who have had to step in to keep our classrooms with qualified, certificated personnel to keep our instruction going. So really, truly a collective effort. And finally, we have started a new series of little videos that are, I think they're incredible. And the first one was just released the other day, and it's called School Heroes from Newport-Mesa. And thank you to Annette Franco and her staff in the Public Information Office. We featured Ernie Perez, custodian at Killybrook Elementary, but he is representative of many custodians in our district and representative of many employees in our district. So we're going to be doing this occasionally, these little school heroes, but they're so great to feature incredible people who are working right here in Newport-Mesa. So can't wait for the next one to come out. I know they're already working on a few of them. So that's my report for tonight.
Thank you. Lots of good information, lots of positive directions we're going in, and hopefully the case count and positivity rate will continue to go down, and we'll get our teachers access to the vaccinations, and we can start planning. So wonderful, wonderful stuff. We move on to the consent calendar.
I move that we accept the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved by trustee Metoyer, seconded by trustee Crane. Are there any questions? I know most of the questions got answered by 4 trustees this week. Nothing else? Okay, moved by trustee Metoyer, seconded by trustee Crane. Roll call vote.
Trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
trustee Barto,
Yes.
trustee Matoye,
Yes.
trustee Anderson,
Yes.
trustee Crane,
Yes.
trustee Weigand,
Yes.
trustee Ursulou.
Yes.
Great, we are on to discussion action.
As I said, we do have 10 comments on 17D, so we'll take them at that time. And we will start on 16D. So we'll start now with the 16A, approve the addition of the mental health module for the 2021 administration of the California Healthy Kids Survey. There she is, Mrs. Jockum.
Yes, good evening, board. Thank you for this opportunity. We just wanted to come tonight and talk a little bit about the addition of the mental health module to our upcoming administration of the California Healthy Kids Survey. And this was requested by the board at one of the earlier board meetings, and we held it. You moved forward with the rest of us while we explored the opportunity to add this module. So we are able to add it. And just to give you a little bit of information on that, there are 12 additional questions in that module for elementary. There's 16 questions for secondary. And some of the areas that they're looking at in those questions are asking about the student's overall mental health, asking about availability of staff and peer support access to mental health services, or peer support, access to mental health services, and the openness or willingness of students to actually access mental health services. So we are excited to get the information and data from this. Typically, the data doesn't come out until sometime in the summer. So we've already kind of put the planning in motion for this coming school year, but we'll take any of that new data that comes in and make any changes as we need to. So I ask for your approval for that item.
Do we have any questions? Comments? I just want to say after listening to the student board members, and I'm sure it's the same for everybody, it is really important that we ask these questions to find out how we can help these kids. So much appreciated. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
I also just wanted to say thank you to trustee Ursulou for bringing it up and to our attention, because I think it's really important and valuable. So thank you.
Very, very appropriate. Thank you. Were you the second?
I was the second, yes.
Moved by trustee Metoyer, seconded by trustee Barto. Roll call vote.
Student board member Elizabeth Levy,
Yes.
trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
trustee Barto,
Yes.
trustee Matoye,
Yes.
trustee Anderson,
Yes. My thing is on. Yes.
trustee Crane,
I can't.
Yes.
hear her.
trustee Weigand,
Yes.
trustee Ursulou.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is it just me or I'm having trouble hearing you?
My computer has been funky all day, and it just it says that now I don't have access to video. So
But we don't need it. So
Just the mic.
no, I know. I'm just saying, but like it won't let me do my video either. So
okay.
Item 16, B, adopt resolution 19-21, waiver of the experiential learning project, ELP graduation requirement for the graduating class of 2021. Dr. Baumeister.
President Yelsey, members of the board, tonight we are asking you to adopt this resolution to waive the experiential learning project as a graduation requirement for this graduating class of 2021. As you know, one of the requirements of the ELP is to complete a minimum of 20 hours outside of the school day. Because of a limited number of opportunities available due to COVID restrictions and the safety concerns associated with completing this project, we're requesting a waiver of the ELP as a graduation requirement for the senior class of 2021.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move to adopt the resolution number 19-02-21, waiver of
Second.
experiential learning project.
Second.
Okay, moved by trustee Barto, seconded by trustee Crane. Any discussion on this?
I think
Question?
it's a great idea to not create more stress for our seniors when they've had enough toughness this year. Good call.
Yeah, we've heard a lot from our community that this was a good recommendation. So thank you.
And I think this also came from the principals, so
Yeah.
I think we are all supportive. So moved by trustee Barto, seconded by trustee Crane. Roll call vote.
Board Member Elizabeth Leby,
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson. Yes. Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Weigand,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. 16C, adopt resolution 18-221, authorizing the establishment and maintenance of site revolving cash funds. Mr. Trader, thank you for joining us.
Good evening. The district maintains various revolving cash funds at the sites, and as staff changes, we need to change the authorizations for these, and this is a routine matter.
I move that we adopt resolution 18-02-21, authorizing the establishment and maintenance of site revolving cash funds.
Second.
Moved by trustee Matoye, seconded by trustee Barto. Roll call vote.
Student Board Member Elizabeth Leby,
Yes.
Trustee Yelsey,
Yes.
Trustee Barto,
Yes.
Trustee Matoye,
Yes.
Trustee Anderson. Yes. Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Weigand,
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving right along. Now we come to 16D, and we do have 15 comments. So should we take those first? We will start reading those. And as Superintendent Lee Sung said, maybe hopefully by our next meeting, we will have the people who wrote these comments be able to read them or share them with us.
If I may add, actually, that was a deterrent for several people that did not send comments in. I had a lot of people connect with me and say if there was a call-in version, they would feel more comfortable with that, particularly for translation. So that is something that has hindered people in the past. So I'm really looking forward to the telephone version.
For sure.
My comment is from Christina. Give the schools more help. They're already struggling as it is.
Tamara Fairbanks, NMFT says, I'm so happy to see that there's a discussion to increase the amount of community facilitators at our schools. Investing in these jobs in our websites, in our West Side schools will aid in helping our parents who are in need and can aid in the academic achievement of a student's life. For many Title I schools, these people have been the ones to connect our families with school and community resources, aiding with student attendance, helping families to learn technology, and help with providing the support needed in order for students to achieve. If we want to deal with learning loss, we need to go back to the base of Maslow's hierarchy and deal with those physiological and safety needs of our students. Community facilitators do that and so much more. They are the first line in finding out what students need, food and security. They are the ones who can translate to our Spanish-speaking parents and connect them with classes to better themselves. They are the ones who bridge our families to the school community and empower them to be actively involved. I believe that in order to see a rise in learning, we need to invest in the basic resources that improve it. I support this investment that helps our students in our Title I schools.
My comment is from M. O'Mara. Trustees, I watched the last board meeting that was addressing the learning loss. Almost the entire meeting was explaining the Math Fellows program. Sounds like a good program. Only about the last 5 minutes was on Project Kids Connect program that was going to occur in the next couple weeks at 2 schools. What about the other schools? Last time I checked, there were 10,769 economically disadvantaged students in this district. Many of them have had no or very limited schooling during the pandemic. EL students, kindergarten, first grade, and those with limited attention span have also suffered from a lack of school. An action plan should start now for all at-risk kids in all schools. You need to provide a community facilitator at every Title I school and maybe a shared facilitator with non-Title I schools. This person can deal with the lack of internet, parents needing help with articulation, communication with school officials, possible food insecurity, housing, their students' placement, emotional problems, mental health resources, special education, etc. Mr. Drake also said that teachers and students were tired, so there was a question about summer school. I have talked to 3 children in my area, and they said they are not tired, and I am sure you can hire teachers to teach summer school. That might help a little to close the gap for some students. More help is needed immediately.
Jane Hartley wrote in my role as ELD teacher at Costa Mesa, I work hand in glove with our community facilitator, Rosa Roxin. I rely on her to connect me with families so that I can better understand my students and help them succeed. I think there might be a misconception by some that community facilitators are just translators, but they are so much more. They weave our families and our school cultures together. When my students are upset, they ask to go see Rosa. I always let them go. She is critical to the social emotional health of many. But if my students misbehave, I will ask them, do you need to go see Mrs. Roisin? They will say no. They know that she will call home and make them toe the line. I will admit that due to the subject I teach, I get more of Rosa's time than most teachers, which is why we need more just like her. Community facilitators are in partnership with teachers to make schools work and children successful. Please fund more.
My comment is from Wendy L. Lease. Now more than ever, the board needs to vote to fund school facilitators, especially in the underperforming schools with language barriers. Facilitators are needed to work as a team with teachers, parents, and specialists to assess learning loss and technology needs. Facilitators will help teachers identify struggling students who need an IEP and a 504 plan and mental health support. A suicide could be prevented. Often, especially in the District 7 schools, language is a barrier. Facilitators will be powerful liaisons to communicate with the family to solve learning issues and in some cases, refer the family for extra support. It's all about communication. Facilitators will be those bridges that kids and families need now. Please put this item on the next agenda and vote to approve funding for hiring facilitators. Better to have too many facilitators than too few. Our kids deserve the attention during COVID.
The next comment is from Charlene Ashendorf. Once upon a time, seems like many years ago, community facilitators had offices, albeit some spaces as small as a work closet on campus. One facilitator on each campus. My experience with facilitators dates back to 2002 when I worked with them to establish the FAST, Families and Schools Together program on campuses. The facilitators were the conduit to the community. They were the full-time eyes and ears for parents, students, teachers, administrators, and police department and invaluable resources. They held seats at the table at community forums and were instrumental in building partnerships with hospitals, clinics, mental health services, and much more. This is one of my favorite photos from a milestone after-school event for a local Costa Mesa elementary school. You might notice interns from USC, a representative from Hoag Hospital, a principal, teachers, and parent volunteers. The lady in the Santa hat just happens to be the mother of our city councilman, Manuel Chavez. Each school needs its own facilitator. She or he will become the point of contact for the community, as well as a neutral party where trust begins. The bilingual facilitator serves many roles on campus, but by its very definition is the person who makes an action or process easier. I would like to thank Trustee Anderson for agendizing this item to recommend the hiring of full-time facilitators at each Title I school in the district, and hope the board will consider this.
It's saying my video is not working. My comment is from Carolina Martinez. It would be beneficial for each school to have their own full-time facilitator.
My comment is from Olga Para. School community facilitators are essential, especially in schools where parents do not speak English. They are our voice. It is very uncomfortable when parent needs something. The facilitator is not there because they have to work with up to 3 different schools. We need one at each school. Having a facilitator at each school will bring many benefits. We will have informed families, students, teachers, and parents who are connected by facilitators, and as a result, things will work in a more organized way without so much confusion. Families will have more benefits. They will trust their children's schools and staff even more. Facilitators definitely play a key role in our schools. I would like you to consider investing in this resource for our Hispanic families.
Dawn Turner says, I'm a teacher at Ray Elementary. The need for a stable community facilitator who has the time to get to know our families is immense. It is hard for families to trust and thus take direction from someone who is only at our school site part-time. I believe that each school site should have a permanent community facilitator.
This comment is from Linda Fleming. Community facilitators are a much needed resource for our Newport-Mesa schools. Though many of the staff are good-hearted and willing to help, many will fall through the cracks without a dedicated person in this position.
Ramoni says, please increase your support of community facilitators to help families in need with things like language barriers, IEPs, COVID issues, etc.
Juana Trujillo says, yes, I do agree we need more facilitators all day at each school, especially Marcy at Paularino School.
Manuel Chavez. Hello, esteemed school board members. I remember being a first grade student at Pomona Elementary in 2003 and attending the FAST program with our community facilitator, Luciano Puyo. The FAST program was designed for parents to learn effective ways to communicate with their students to encourage them to stay focused in school. Community facilitators are the bloodline of our schools. They're the first point of contact for our Spanish-speaking parents and a bridge for working with non-bilingual principals, a link for getting struggling family resources, and translate and explain any district directions. They are some of the unsung heroes of the district, and they need more support. NMUSD should have one dedicated for each Title I school.
Next comment is from Lisa Bowler. Good afternoon, Superintendent Lee Sung and board members. I would like to voice my support for our Newport-Mesa community facilitators. I strongly believe that each of our mostly bilingual schools deserve to have a full-time facilitator. As Harper Council PTA president, I have had the opportunity to work closely with several of our school facilitators. They are a positive resource for the parents and also for the PTA and school. Several of our schools have parents who are learning the language and may not know all of the workings of their child's school, but are willing to learn. We at PTA have training available for our volunteers, but the day-to-day planning and all falls to the school. I could not give the help that I provide along with the rest of our PTA volunteers without the help of the facilitators. It is my sincere belief that for all of our students to succeed, we need to provide as much help and support we can to our schools. Our community facilitators are this support. Please give serious consideration to providing our schools with full-time community facilitators. They are one of our strongest resources. Thank you. Lisa Bowler, Harbor Council PTA President.
My comment is from Lori Smith. Dear members of the board, I support hiring a full-time facilitator at each Title I school. The concern for our neediest students is not new. I recall hearing one of you saying you feel you spend more time on West Side schools than on those in your own district. It hasn't worked hoping teachers and principals could fill the need, partnering with outside community organizations, or hiring consultants with special programs. Even LCAP hasn't worked. Excusing it as a cultural problem hasn't worked. And the exchange of professional school nurses for assistants and spreading them across multiple campuses, along with the changing role of school psychologists to full-time academic assessment, has created a void in serving these students. This is a people problem, and it needs people with the right skills. Facilitators are those people. The pandemic has challenged all of our students, but none more than our Title I students, many who were already on the brink of crisis. I urge you to invest in these students by hiring full-time facilitators for all of our Title I schools.
Okay, thank you for those comments. Once again, item 16D is to discuss increase of staffing of school community facilitators. And it was mentioned, I believe, in one of the comments that this was put on the agenda by one of our trustees, Trustee Anderson. So I'm going to turn it over to you to make comments and explain what your feelings are about this.
Thank you. So some of you know, but some of you may not. Before I decided to run for the school board, I had been working as a nonprofit consultant since 2013, studying and assisting to meet the needs of Newport-Mesa school communities that were out of the scope of a regular school day. I help lead parent education training, including helping parents get registered for school and how to use email, English language classes, and the importance of early education. I help train academic coaches and tutors at partner nonprofits who would then go on to volunteer as classroom literacy support. I was a reading support teacher through the Literacy Project Foundation at Pomona, and I was an invested participant of the Community Alliance. It was there that I began to meet and hear directly from facilitators about their work. Another thing that I would often do is meet with elementary principals and ask what some needs may be that the nonprofit, faith-based, and business communities could help with. One thing I heard over and over again from principals was that their school community facilitators were the glue on their campuses, and they wished that they could have one full-time dedicated to their specific site. Parents are amazing advocates for their students, and some need more encouragement than others to feel that their voices will be heard and valued. It became evident to me that this was a top priority in Title I schools and for students to access the most opportunities that they could. In fact, I spoke to the school board on this topic during the budget and LCAP board meeting in June 2018, before I decided to officially step up as a candidate for school board. The need for one school community facilitator for each Title I school, which was the case before 2008, has been a top priority for me now for over 2 years. As a result of COVID, the urgency has never been greater. I wanted to take a minute to read a few parts in the modified LCAP, now called LCP, the Learning Continuity Plan. In the Learning Continuity Plan, under the DWAC feedback, one of the main things that I heard in DWAC, but also as a part of this report, is that clear two-way communication with district sites is very important for parents to receive updates and request support. How-to videos in English and Spanish would be helpful, and parents need more specifics about safety and other procedures when schools reopen. They also said on one of the things that was interesting to me too, that is a bit of a change, as a result of COVID, facilitators are now not just caring for Spanish-speaking families, but any family who needs one-on-one assistance. So they were working really hard and were maxed out before COVID, and now they additionally are caring for any family on their campuses who need additional support. On page 13 of the LCP, it says that parent communication is a top district priority, and that parent communication needs to be 2 ways and re-messaging information from the sites to make sure that all parents understand, particularly parents that are ELD family. So I think one of the things for me is I've seen practically how this was a need before COVID, and now the need has just kind of ramped up. We have a few of our schools who have had a lot of turnover in their roles that need the help the most. So at Ray and Pomona specifically, they've had a lot of turnover with the facilitators, and they need a full-time person who's on site for them specifically, as well as Wilson. The facilitator at Wilson splits her time with Kaiser, Woodland, and Wilson. And there's also one of the facilitators who is working at Ray has now left and is doing the cloud. And so a stable, continuous person full-time is really a hugely important thing to build authentic relationship and for families to build trust and know who to go to when they have questions. So I would love if it would be possible if we could have 4 additional facilitators. We currently have Let me bring up my notes. I have so many notes on this. We currently have 13 facilitators. We have 2 at the district office and we have 1 out on leave. And so we only have 10 that are site-based currently in both elementary and secondary. And we know that we have 10 Title I schools. So we already know hearing that we might need more. So my recommendation would be if we could have 16 that are site-based and 1 district facilitator. So that would be looking for 4 new people and reassigning for the full-time roles that are most in need right now for Ray, Pomona, Wilson, and College Park. So my ask is if we can possibly add, and I know it takes a while and we've been in process of looking for more facilitators, but if we could have 4, that would be incredible. And I actually, on the job description, at the top range, times 4, it would be $231,000. And then with benefits and everything, it would only be $311,000 for what I consider essential on our school campuses. So we have actually additional revenue that's unexpected. I feel like whenever I look at our first interim report, I'm always amazed that, you know, we continue to go up in the revenue that we're bringing in. And so I think that there is money that is LCFF that we could be using some of that. And so my recommendation is if we could have 4 additional facilitators. I'll take a breath now.
Thank you for that information. Superintendent Lee Sung, would you like to comment before board members engage? Or anybody else on your staff comments?
Yeah, I'll just say a few words first, and be good to hear from all of our trustees on this request. So first of all, I want to say that the comments that we heard from the public, multiple comments. I think if you talk to anybody who works at a school site, as you know, I was a former high school principal and assistant principal in a very diverse community. So I'm very used to this type of position, and what's described is very real in terms of the services they provide to parents, to students, to staff, to administrators, all of that. So I can attest to that. So in terms of supporting this type of service and this classification of service is something that to me is a no-brainer. It's a very important position. I just want to remind everybody that earlier this year, we did make a decision to add 4 additional school community facilitators right at the beginning of the year. And one of them was going to be allocated to the Cloud campus, which was a new campus. We started that process, but unfortunately that process has taken quite some time, and we're still engaged in that process. So that hasn't changed, and I'm not sure all the numbers of where the 4 that we've already authorized plays into your proposal, Trustee Anderson. But what I wanted to say, first of all, was that I believe that this is an important classification and the type of service they provide. The other thing I want to add is that we go through a process, it's a cycle every year of looking at what our needs are in the district in totality. As you can imagine, there are many needs. Here we're talking about school community facilitators. I'm saying it's an important position, but there are many, many important positions throughout the district. And we go through the LCAP process. Vanessa Gailey is the leader of that process. We're gathering a lot of input from stakeholders, from parents, from staff, teachers. There's a process to sit down with each of our employee associations, as well as leadership and the board. And so I want to make sure that we don't forget about these processes that we do every year. Because when we consider this, we often also have to consider all the other needs and positions and services that we provide. So I want you to consider that as well. If we need more information on the process,
Thank you. I don't want to put Vanessa Gailey on the spot, but I don't know if she is in the middle of LCAP preparation, if she would even be, you know, does she want to give an opinion on this now or?
yeah, I'm not sure if she'll give an opinion. She'll share with you information in terms of the process that she would normally take in terms of gathering information, leading to a recommendation in the LCAP.
Well, we always enjoy hearing from Vanessa. So I see her on the screen. So Vanessa, would you like to share whatever information you can contribute to this?
Yes, absolutely. Trustees and members of the public, thank
We
you for this
can't hear you.
opportunity. Oh, you can't hear me? I'm turned up. You still can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Can hear me. Can the members of the board hear? Okay. Okay. So hello, everyone. Greetings from the laundry room. I welcome this opportunity to have this discussion as we want to look at all of the resources needed for the LCAP. As has been mentioned, we have great need, and COVID has only exacerbated that need. When we look at the role of the school community facilitator, it is so pivotal and all-encompassing, and I want to echo the appreciation for all the work that they do and acknowledge that we have been undergoing an expansion. And so again, we're excited to talk about this, and also in the context of the process and in looking at the overall need throughout the district. The need is magnified at our Title I schools, but that does not take away from the need at some of our other schools as well that are not necessarily identified as Title I. And even when we look at some of our schools that may on the surface seem like they don't have much need, it sure feels like a lot of need to our families over at those schools if you're the 1 or 2 or 3 families who are English learners. And we also want to provide support there. Or if you happen to have become homeless over the course of the year, we want to provide service for that family as well. If you are low income anywhere, again, we have that value of supporting our families. We currently have a process where we look at a number of factors as we're allocating our existing positions. So as we are looking to add the additional positions, Mr. Lee Sung is correct. We have undertaken a process to interview and hire. We are very pleased that one of those positions has been filled, and I believe our new school community facilitator will be joining us later in the week. We do have an onboarding process, which takes a while. We want our school community facilitators to learn about our district, and we want them to learn about the service that we provide and continue to learn together. I understand the desire to look at our excellent district level SCFs and say, gosh, we should put them at school sites. I want to remind you that there is no sub pool for school community facilitators. And so especially in times of COVID, we have found that having at least 2 has been critical to be able to fill the gaps, because we've had not one long-term absence, but a number throughout the years. We've experienced, unfortunately, a loss through death to one of our members in recent years. We've had folks go out on maternity leave. So we've really found that it's been important to build the capacity and have this resource at our fingertips, as well as to be able to deploy in times of need and times of a school crisis. So I would advocate that we do not take away from our district pool of those 2 SCFs who can fill in the gaps and also support some of our district initiatives, and really look to our regular allocation processes. Again, we do have additional positions in the works. We want to look at that. We want to bring folks on board. We want to train them. And then we want to continue to look at that what is the need and what is the allocation. So that's an overall package, but I would say that, again, I would not advocate for taking from the pool of R2 as a district level resource, but would continue to look at the level of need. And of course, because I am in charge of Title I schools, I absolutely understand the level of commitment and being asked to look at that. But we're going to look at all of the factors. We're going to look at not only the concentration of low income and English learner families, but homelessness and families who are current and former English learner status. We want to serve all of our families, whether our students have reclassified or not. And again, we understand that our students who are dually identified with an IEP, we also factor in all of those equations when we're thinking about how we deploy our resources.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Could you just clarify for me, of the 4 that we authorized earlier in the year, the 4 new facilitators, did you say we've only hired 1?
Well, yes, what happened is when we had the cloud, that was an expansion. So one person who had been hired to fill a vacancy moved over to the cloud, which created a new vacancy. And then we have the additional positions coming in. So, and then, by the way, we also have a new position that we are going to be adding on top of that, which is a Title I funded position specifically to support McKinney-Vento families, which will be housed at the Welcome Center, but also serving to support the McKinney-Vento support that we expect to see still at the school site.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Crane.
Yeah, first, thank you, Trustee Anderson, for leading the discussion. That was a lot of work, I could tell. So I do have a question. Is your recommendation a temporary solution to the COVID-19 time that we're encountering because of the, the challenges, or are you suggesting or recommending basically a permanent positions?
For right now, I think for me, one of my concerns is, we're a little bit behind on this. So like ideally, it would have been great to be able to have some of these discussions, even in the beginning of last fall before there was a crisis. And I think it's just exacerbated the need. One of the concerns that I'm seeing is that people are not at a site full time. And so people really do not know who to access. And the facilitators just get, before their job was just the Spanish speaking families, and they already were maxed out. And now they have been tasked with caring for a lot of the homeless families and any student that needs help. So my concern is, I would love to see if we have people who are at a specific site full time in that role. We have one of our facilitators who's at our school with highest COVID rates is at 3 different schools, 2 elementary, 1 secondary. We have another person who was doing the cloud and was at 2 elementary schools previously. The need is really dramatic. And I think because it does take a long time for this hiring process, for me, it is essential, and it's something that literally has been years in the making and asking for these critical roles, particularly on our Title I campuses. Of course, there are students across the district that have needs, but often they're at Davis, at California, there are other schools that there has been a facilitator on call for those support needs. So I don't want to take away, but we like Ray, for instance, we heard the report during learning loss, and they have not had a stable person. They haven't had one person there since their facilitator went full-time to Estancia. Pomona has had a lot of turnover, unfortunately. The amazing facilitator that was there that passed away, there's been turnover there for 3 years since that happened. There hasn't been one stable person full-time. So it's about the relationship building and really caring for our most vulnerable families. So it's a little of both. I mean, I would love if it could be long-term, but I think my ask would be if it would be possible to do it on an ongoing basis. I think that it's crucial. If we can do it for 1 year, that would be great. But for me, I think even hearing also from Leona earlier about the process for staffing for classified, it's an ongoing thing. And so it's not a temporary 1 year kind of a term.
I was asking because I was thinking, is this a sustain, as far as our budget, can we sustain the cost long-term, or is this just temporary? That's why I asked.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things that's so fascinating, because this is a hugely important role, but on the high end, they make $57,000 a year. On the low end, they're making $10,000 less than that if they're in an intro position. So it's not even coming in at a higher level. So that's why, I did the math, and really for 1 year for 4 of them with benefits, it's $311,000. And I think that's really important.
Any other comments?
I would be generally in support of this. I would just love to know that I always go back to, I'd love to hear from the principals, and I would love to know who's at each site and just kind of get a list of, if we have those positions that we're trying to fill, where are they supposed to go? What's the process there? I think I just need a little bit more information so that I could make a recommendation of how best to help, because I think there's clearly a need, and I've heard from families who have really benefited from the help, but I just want to make sure that we're, if we've already got something in the work, kind of like the libraries, if we've already are doing something at some sites, let's make sure we roll it out at all the sites in the same way, because sometimes there's holes that we don't know about, and it's just because it hasn't been rolled out yet, or someone hasn't given authority or permission to do those things. So that's kind of where I am with that.
Thank you, Trustee Metoyer.
Trustee Anderson, I've been around, and I haven't been a board member all that time, but I've been around in the district for a long time. And I remember when we started school community facilitators, and Councilmember Chavez was probably in school when I was working with them, when I was part of the adult ed community. And we just started our preschool program, and we just started the outreach, and we were blessed with a massive amount of donations, which allowed us to hire the school community facilitators in the first place. And it was such a luxury. We had bragging rights throughout the county because of that. And they are a valuable, valuable place. What I would like to see before I make a decision now is, without names on them, what school has what person for how much time, we'll use your schools, or we could use my schools, because mine are also Title I too.
Yeah.
So College Park, I know Pomona shares a person with Sonora, and she may be somewhere else too, but I don't know that. So I would like a little chart, because we've all talked about how we love charts, and it'll give us an idea. And what does a halftime look like? Is it Monday, Tuesday, and if there's a crisis on Thursday and Friday, oh well? Or is it you're here for the morning and you're here for the afternoon? Just an idea. And I definitely would like to hear from principals, because they know their community. I can't imagine being the principal of a school, given the opportunity to have someone else work at my school. I would more than likely say yes, because all the help that they can get, especially now with our COVID challenges, are very welcome. But then again, they may need a kindergarten teacher, and they'd rather have the kindergarten teacher right now. I don't know. I need more information. I'm definitely not a shooter downer, because I have seen the value and the outreach reach. I do know that our demographics are changing, in that we don't, when this program first started back in the caveman days, we had ginormous amounts of non-English speaking families, newly arrivals to the United States. They brought such a rich culture and enthusiasm and appreciation for our schools. And we are now populated by many more second generation families. And so I don't know the need. I also know how hard it is to go bouncing between schools for anything. Ask any music teacher, science teacher, or elementary PE teacher who bounces around how much they would love to just be at one school. So I just need more information before I would vote, but it's definitely, and I also have a question. The 4, I'm a little confused.
You want me to say them again, or?
No, you want 4. I get that. That's easy.
Well, one of them was College Park, so it's in your.
And that would be good. Yes. Well, and I know mine is shared. So, I mean, trust me, I get that part of it. What I'm wanting to understand is, we as a board have already approved the hiring of 4. Am I correct? 5. We've approved the hiring of 5. And do you want 4 more, or just get off get off our duff and get those 5 hired.
Yeah, I mean,
Then you'll ask for 4 more.
well, no, I mean, part of it is that we've been, this is a stated need, right? And so it hasn't, for me, it's really urgent. It's not, we don't have a lot of, and I know that the hiring process takes a while and we need, to onboard people. I think that's really important. But part of my having this discussion is to bring it back to the forefront, because I have had those conversations with principals. I do know what the schedules, I do know the facilitators at those sites. I think particularly, a lot of my advocacy is actually also for the Mesa zone. There's currently no facilitator at Costa Mesa Middle School. So Rosa is covering for nearly 1,600 students. She's also handling all of the COVID calls, all of those nursing support things. She's also handling a lot of the homelessness piece. She has someone who helps with Project Hope Alliance, but she's the main contact. And as you heard from the one teacher at Mesa, she also helps with ELD students. These are they're human. Like
I get that.
Again, with some of our roles in the district, we are maxing people out and it's just not humanly possible.
So you're just wanting it to jump back up to the top. Don't let it slide away. Don't forget about this. And it is a critical need. And the hiring process for classified can be very frustrating because of the process that we have to go through. And it's good in some aspects, because back in the day, merit system, God, I'm sounding like Trustee Floor. Back in the day, the process was so that we didn't have nepotism, so that I didn't hire my brother-in-law to do this job, even though they weren't qualified. It was just easy and I could do it. We know everyone is qualified for the job that they've gotten, and that's great. So, but this is a hard qualification to have. If you've seen the job posting, you have to be pretty skilled and very valuable. So we definitely want to keep that posting flying and in everybody's minds all the time. So, okay.
Trustee
Thank you.
Ursulou had a comment.
Trustee Ursulou.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment to thank Trustee Anderson for keeping this on our radar. They say in public policy, don't tell me your values, show me your budget, and I'll tell you your values. And so I think in a district as fortunate as this one, where we don't suffer from a lack of funds like so many other districts, we are able to navigate these situations in more timely manners than others are. So we're so lucky that we're able to do that. And also in a district where we have nearly half of our population is, considered low income, this is something that has become, as someone else mentioned earlier, it's just critical in the pandemic that these needs have been elevated just even more than they were. They were horrific needs in 2018, 2019, and now they're just magnified and expanded. Families that had jobs in 2019, now they find themselves unemployed and in the needs of the same services that our lower income families were used to needing. So we're just in a place where this is really necessary. So I think for me, I absolutely would love to move forward with Trustee Anderson's suggestion of 4, but I'm also similar to Shar, wanting to see some kind of chart where these 4 that you've already approved, where are they? Because I just ultimately want to make sure that every Title I has 1 full-timer. So if that means we need 3 more, if it means we need 2 more, 6 more, I don't know. But each Title I should have 1. And then I do think there is then a discussion later for those that, as Ms. Gailey mentioned, some of those schools that are on the brink, like they might just be 30% low income or ELL or what have you. They're not quite Title I, but maybe 2 of those schools can share one. Those schools that are like a California, like on the brink, but not quite there. But I would just offer that definitely having 1 at each Title I school is a great place for us to commit to our value of serving our most needy kids and making sure that the playing field is level for everybody.
If I may, I just want to jump
Thank you.
I think Vanessa's saying something.
Pardon?
Vanessa started to say something.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Vanessa, would you like to talk, and then I'll come back?
Sure, just one other piece. We are at the beginning of our LCAP input process, and I do want to make sure that we make the space for the principals at the schools to really weigh in on their need, their ongoing need, and I think that's a really critical factor. I will say that these positions that are currently proposed are not in our formula right now dedicated only to Title I schools. And I again want to reiterate the importance of, especially during COVID, having us have the flexibility to support absences. And it's even more detrimental when you don't have people to go to support these absences. So I really want us to be very thoughtful as we're looking forward, and also, marching together through the hiring process, because we do have these positions, they have been posted. We have a high set of qualifications, and there's a reason why out of the pool that we had, we were only able to hire one at this time. I'm happy to say a former Newport-Mesa grad. So we are definitely committed to filling these positions and working really thoughtfully, not to the detriment of the overall scope of service and not to the detriment of our other non-Title I schools. And absolutely, we are committed to keeping this conversation alive. But the last piece, these positions were born under Karen Kendall and under Amparo Ames. So I want to recognize that.
Yeah, and I think
Thank you.
that's so important. I mean, I think the takeaway is that it can be both. Like, I don't think that I also think there could be a delineation of roles, because what I'm currently seeing is we're having a tremendous amount of students at our schools that are either housing insecure, they've lost their homes. At Estancia alone, there are 10 foster youth and 25 McKinney-Vento. At Costa Mesa High School, it went from last year, there were 10 foster youth and 8 homeless students. This year, so cumulatively with Mesa Middle and High School, that was 18 students. This year, it's at 73. So the facilitators are valuable and we need them, but we also need a lot of support for homeless students right now, and that is a different designation. And so I just want to make sure too that we're providing enough support for all of the different categories of need in our district. So I'm a thinker of both, and I don't think it's one or the other. And so I just want to make sure though that the four elementary schools that are Title I that need the most support of Wilson, Ray, Pomona, and College Park have a full-time facilitator as soon as possible. So even if it's somebody who is currently working at 2 other schools, if those 2 other schools are not as in need right now, they could be on call for them perhaps, but really focused on those schools.
So I think it's apparent that everybody wants a little bit more information and to hear from principals, but I also hear the urgency that right now we're in a difficult position with COVID issues all around us. So I'm not sure this kind of discussion could wait until a next board meeting. Is there a way that we can get some information from principals, even if we have a separate study session or talk to Vanessa in small groups, or could you shed some light on how you think this might go?
I would. So first of all, the discussion is good, and staff and key staff are here tonight listening to the discussion. I do request that we give Vanessa and Laura Del Pash an opportunity to take this information and take this direction. I don't think we need a vote to go to the next level, and allow them to put the information together. When we gave authorization earlier in the year to add 4, which was great news, and we knew there was a sense of urgency, we moved on that right away. I didn't hesitate. I didn't have study sessions. I just said, you know what, we need it, let's move it. But what I didn't do was tell Vanessa and Laura and the principals and all the people and part of the planning of exactly where to put it. I said, if you get 4 more, where do we take our services to the next level? And that's kind of what I'm hearing here, is we want to take our service again to a higher level, and we need to make sure Title I schools are taken care of. But I'm also hearing from Vanessa, we need to make sure the other schools, the non-Title I schools, are also taken care of, and McKinney-Vento and et cetera. So what I would suggest is that with this direction, with this discussion, we allow Vanessa Gailey, Laura Del Pash to put the information together. If they get this sooner than our next opportunity to come together, I will share that with the board so that we're prepared at the next opportunity to bring this back on the agenda and make any final decisions. But I will go back to my same thing here is I want to make sure our processes are still followed. There are many other needs that will come up from this board, from our stakeholders, from our principals that we can't, leave out. Okay, so even though we're talking about this and this is important, there's many other needs that will be surfacing. So that would be my recommendation at this point.
Karen?
Okay, thank you.
What? Also can, I know that Mrs. Gailey and Mr. Trader put on a show together, so make sure that our funding is able to support our glorious needs. We know we've been trained enough to know that we can't have everything, but we want it. So, but see how much we can. Thank you.
Okay, so we're in agreement. We'll have Vanessa, we'll have the principals involved, we'll get back and then plan on when we can meet again. But we do understand the urgency.
Can we do a no later then? So that it doesn't drop off? I mean, well, I realize we have a week holiday in between too, but.
Would it be possible during the learning loss study session that the principals would be able to speak? I mean, it really directly impacts the learning continuity plan. So if the principals are able to speak to it then, and then perhaps we could decide on at the March 9th meeting.
Well, I would assume that the principals who are, and we will hear from all the principals about what's happening at their schools. I'm sure those that have community facilitators would bring that up. I would expect that.
Well, maybe not, maybe, because keep in mind, we're under a very short time crunch for the study session itself. So I don't want to detract from that, okay? Because we're trying to hear from all of our school principals in a relatively short period of time. But here's the thing, I'm going to tell you, from a principal perspective, Title I, it's an easy question. They're going to want staff and they're going to want support. So I wouldn't get too bogged down on hearing from principals because they're going to support that. I think what I really am asking for is to allow Vanessa and Laura to thoughtfully look at how we can accomplish this goal without taking away from any other service or other school site. And I'll get that to the board. The other thing I've been reminded of is we currently have a recruitment going on for school committee facilitators. So whether we rush this in a week or we wait 3 weeks, they're already recruiting. They're already going through the process. So that's a good point for everybody to consider. Okay. And so I think we will get there all at the same time, whether we do it a week from now or 3 weeks from now.
Okay. And I just have one question for Leona. In the process of recruiting these facilitators, do we even have prospects right now? Are they being interviewed?
So I'll just give you a little bit of background of this year with the recruitments. We did have a recruitment in the fall or in early September. And out of that, there aren't a lot of people who apply. So it is a little bit of a hard to fill, but we did have 50, and then out of that, there was an eligibility list. And when it went to Vanessa and Laura, unfortunately, a couple of the people fell out of the process at that point in time. So we had that issue. So we started to run another recruitment at the beginning of January. It's actually closed. We are in the middle right now of screening that. So they will go through the screening process, and then from there, they will have a testing component, and then we will create an eligibility list and have it certified by the Personnel Commission. So we're at the latter part because the screening is really intensive. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. This field is in high demand, boy. Anyone looking to go into a career, you may want to consider it.
There are entire departments in some districts that have a director of community engagement. So I think it's just such a valuable and an important role, pre-COVID, and now it's just really highlighted the need.
And I hope you realize that we're not thinking that this needs to be funded entirely out of Title I funding. So, I mean, that would be nice if we got that much Title I funding, and should the federal government decide to let loose some of that money, that'd be great. But if we think this is a critical piece for our schools, then we can yet tap general funds yet again.
Well, we've already approved 4 of them.
Right.
So we can
But I
keep
don't
going
know
on.
where, I didn't know
Yeah.
where the funding source was.
So-
I'm just
so-
saying that I'm not saying that it should only come from one funding source.
Yeah, Trustee Matoya, you are accurate. Vanessa Gailey does a great job to make sure that we are appropriately using the funding sources. But you're right, it does not necessarily mean this is a Title I expenditure. Sometimes, as you know, these are split and several or different funds. But you're right, it may not be all or even part of Title I.
Right. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so
you
it
for that.
is
That's
with,
really important because I have my budget book and I have, I mean, that's why I have been asking, for the Fund 17, like, can we use the interest? 242,000. It's a little bit more than what we would need. I've been trying to figure out a way for us to fund it. And so I thank you for highlighting that. I think that's really important. And I
So-
love Jeff Trader's, all of his quotes that he always puts in the budget.
Me too.
The budget, our values and our aspirations. And I think it's really important. So thank you for highlighting that.
okay, so we will leave it with Superintendent Lee Sung and his staff, Vanessa specifically, to come back with us with a report and as soon as possible. And we know the application process and hiring process is continuing. So we will get back as soon as possible.
Thank you very much.
Nice
Thank you.
discussion. Nice discussion.
Yes, very nice, very good discussion.
Thank you.
And
Trustee
again,
Anderson.
this job
Posting.
for a school community facilitator, people should take a look at this.
Yeah.
Those looking for a profession, especially and want to stay in this area, we are hiring. Okay, we will move on to community input on non-agendized items. We have 10 comments, so we have time to read them. And we will start back
With me.
with Trustee Matoye.
This is the opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items not on the regular meeting agenda via electronically submitted comments. Again, each speaker has 3 minutes of comment read time, and per board bylaws 93-23, there is a maximum of 20 minutes of comments per topic. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments depending on the topic and the number of persons submitting comments. All comments are recorded in full on the meeting video record.
Okay, we will begin with Trustee Crane.
This is from Wendy Lees. Public engagement by Newport-Mesa citizens in our tax-supported school district has always been important to me. Everyone should find it easy to access the board's agenda in one step. The board agenda should be on the first page of the website. One should not have to figure out that in order to see the agenda, you must go to the board page and read everything and figure out to click on the right side. Then you must click on the far right, which often takes more than one click. Why is it so difficult to find the agenda? Please put the agenda on the main page, exclamation point. Also, last night I participated in the City Planning Commission meeting through webinar. Clicked on a Zoom, raised my hand and spoke for 3 minutes to oppose the proposed LED giant billboards at Triangle Square. Why can't citizens participate in your meetings and comment real time by raising their hands? It is not rocket science. I'll bet a 5th grader could figure it out. Please make these meetings a webinar with live comments by the public or open the boardroom with COVID restrictions.
This comment is by EV. It's time NMUSD schools open up full-time. Ladera Ranch, Mission Viejo, Irvine, and so many other districts have been full-time for months now. I would love to see the scientific data that NMUSD has as to why they are still hybrid and with no sports, PE, or recess. What is your plan? When do you intend to put our kids first and move out of this model? Our kids need face-to-face instruction. A year later, screens and distance learning is not good enough. More.
An anonymous email says, I would like my daughters to have more classes in person because it is very difficult online. I appreciate that you keep us informed about our daughters' education.
My comment is from Mary. When will our kids be able to eat lunch at school, have recess, and stay for more than 2 hours? Private schools and other OC districts have figured it out and are open full time. NMUSD is robbing our kids of a full, productive education. Shame on all of you for not putting them first.
The next comment is from Olga Para. To whom it may concern, I would like to address you as what you are, an institution that deserves and must offer respect, since it is the institution that is in charge of education of our children. I would like to express my significant disagreement in the content of many of the written lessons given to our middle school children. These lessons include profanity and degrading expressions toward women. We are talking about lessons given to people aged 12 to 13 years old. My request is that such content be reviewed, knowing that although our children are exposed to certain things outside, the school must be a safe zone where they are guided to learn other types of things, not be part of the problem. I need you to think about a way to filter these types of lessons. Thank you.
The next comment is from Ureli. When I Was Puerto Rican is a very obscene literature. It's so disappointing to see that our kids are being taught trash like that in school. I'm very upset with the language and everything in the article. I don't understand why that would be something that's taught in school.
My comment is from Donald Ryan. I am posting here because of lack of contact with quote unquote my union. I have tried multiple times to get in contact with you to let me know when the time frame is to opt out of the union that I have supported for 24 plus years and now choose not to. What is the reason why no one will contact me?
Charlene Aschendorf says, it is exciting to see many school improvement projects on this evening's agenda. Oftentimes, maintenance and school improvements are not considered sexy, but they are necessary. I would like to call to your attention 3 items not included on the agenda for consideration at Whittier Elementary School. First, there is a portable classroom that parallels 18th Street. I would like to point out that the ramp to this unit has deteriorated and is in disrepair. It appears from the street view to be not only an eyesore, but a potential liability issue. Next, there are AC units with ventilation on the same side of the Whittier campus that are exposed to kids. The same is true of units facing Whittier Street in front of campus. In a recent walk in the neighborhood, I saw kids using the ramp with skateboards and students sitting and eating in front on the concrete next to these units. Finally, I noticed a utility box which is labeled AT&T on the corner of Whittier and 18th Street. It is discolored and dented. Because it is not owned by the city, it does not meet requirements for the art program, but I would be happy to connect with the company to get this decorated for the school, for the neighborhood, if someone in the district has a connection. Thank you. Visual and performing arts have not been canceled in the Newport-Mesa Unified School District. That was in capital letters. That's why I changed my tone. I would like to acknowledge and congratulate Bridget Duffin, the VAPA coordinator, who is allocated 60% of her time to VAPA TOSA and 40% as elementary music specialist. On Saturday, February 6th, she led the district-wide biannual VAPA Commission meeting, pulling together 40 teachers, community nonprofits, principals, and staff for a morning of keeping our connections for the arts front and center. The accomplishments of the arts departments throughout our district in pandemic times proved the arts are alive and well. They are thriving, and while it is difficult, creativity on all fronts rose to the challenge. It was great to see trustees Metoyer and Crane in attendance. I hope they will share and join in the enthusiasm of the day.
And this comment is from Dennis Aschendorf. Good evening, President Yeltsin, distinguished board trustees, Superintendent Lee Sung. The comment period for new California math framework has started. It may benefit our district to submit a response. The following topics matter to us: acceleration or not in middle school, tracking or not, any transition impacts of K6 versus K5, only one math pathway versus two. If two, can compliance with California's financial literacy law be met by a financial algebra course as an Algebra 2 alternative? For B, if two, can an integrated data science course join with financial algebra and or AP stats as a flexible second pathway? Thank you for your timely consideration.
Maria E. Martinez writes, we need more support for the students, being aware of the resources so that those who need extra support, but mainly for those who have been diagnosed for special education services, because we need to help them so they are part of society with justice and equity as important individuals, and that their condition, regardless of what it is, does not prevent them from being valuable individuals for the growth of our future. That was the last comment.
Okay, we have informal reports, and I know the superintendent would like to respond to some of these or comment on some of these input items. So you can combine that if you'd like with your report.
Absolutely. Okay, so, I do want to make a few comments related to what we just heard, read. I know the board cannot discuss these items because these are non-agendized items, but I felt it's good to at least acknowledge some of these points. So the first thing is, I did mention earlier in my report that we are looking at putting in a process where members of the public can read their comments personally via Zoom. So we hope to have that ready for the next board meeting. The other category about increased school time, as I stated the last board meeting, I want to repeat again that we do have a committee comprised of principals and directors, and we are continuing to look at ways that we can increase the instructional time for our elementary students here in the district. I know this is a very high and strong interest of our trustees, and we are working to find what we can feasibly do here in this district. So that work continues. In terms of the comments about concerns with the curriculum, and some potential obscene literature or inappropriate lessons, just want you to know that we will look into that. There's not a whole lot of information here, but we will try to find out what this is. And of course, if it's inappropriate, we will address that. So I want to
Thank you for doing that. I actually had a few students reach out to me and comment on that, so I appreciate you looking into that. It was very upsetting for some of our students.
Okay. The comment about the union concern, you know, our union leaders, their information is on our website. So any employee or member of the public can contact them. So if this person's asking how to reach them, that would be the easiest method to contact them directly. And then the couple of the concerns that were brought up by Charlene Ashendorf related to the facilities at Whittier School, we'll make sure that the principal is aware of those, and if work orders need to be submitted, that we follow our standard process to get these requests taken care of. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have Assistant Superintendent and Executive Director reports. I will start with Mr. Holk.
Dr. Jocko was getting ready to get up.
Would you like to begin?
I'm so used to speaking first.
I was switching it up tonight. Okay, Mrs. Jocko. I assume you sit in an order for a reason. I will continue.
Not really, but but I appreciate that. Thank you. I was just trying to make sure I was on time to the podium. So just a couple of comments tonight about the Association of California School Administrators, which is known as ACSA. And many administrators within our district at various leadership levels belong to this California statewide organization. And they do great work in terms of professional development for leadership. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is that it's a regionalized program, and we in Newport-Mesa are part of Region 17, which is part of Orange County. And recently, I wanted to honor the work that was done by Dr. Amy Nagy of Woodland and Carrie Adams, one of our special education coordinators, who did all the planning and implementing for a Saturday conference called In This Together. And they did all the behind the scenes work, got the guest speakers, all of the breakout sessions. And our own Dr. Christy Flores from Davis was also one of the breakout speakers. They had tremendous participation in this event. We got a swag box in the mail ahead of time. We got a DoorDash coupon for lunch. This was one of our swag items, my AXA Region 17 mask. So it's just, to me, it's just a symbol of many of our administrators, many of our staff in general go above and beyond to support further education, professional development in the field. And it's not just for Newport-Mesa staff, it's really for staff across the county, across the region, and ultimately at the state level. And we get so focused on some of the other things that I just thought it's important to know that these are people who volunteer their time and take that extra step just to kind of promote our professional development. So I thought I'd just give them a little shout out during my time. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. Ms. Olson.
Thank you. Just a couple of things tonight. One is we are, as part of our COVID prevention plan, you might recall, we implemented voluntary surveillance testing. And our next round is coming up this Thursday. We still have spots for those people listening if they would like to register. It will be taking place Thursday, February 11th at Sonora. And then our second site is at Harper from 2:30 to 4. So we hope people can have the opportunity to get tested. It is very, very helpful. We tested about 300 people in our last round. And with, I will share 3 positives, which is in just a small amount, but those were through people who could take care of themselves and keep everybody else healthy at the same time. Also, I would like to thank the board for approving the ratification of the substitute increase in pay. I think it's important that our substitutes, as Mr. Lee-Sung said earlier, are recognized for the hard work that they do. They come in, sometimes they don't know what class they're going to, and we are recognizing that, and we are increasing the rate of pay, which will keep us competitive, as well as recognize the fine work that they do. And I am really happy that I think we all are, about the numbers. Our intake team has been working hard, but it has slowed down a little bit, which has helped the HR division start getting back to some of these things, such as the screening and the hiring that we're talking about. So I just want to remind everybody to please stay safe going into President's Week, wear a mask, as Pam Saunders stated, and maintain that distancing so that we can continue our programs for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. And I've heard from some of the substitutes we have in the district, and they are very pleased with the salary increase. And I think in addition to that, not only are we increasing pay, but we also do a good training program that I think we should acknowledge in our district that many other districts don't. So subs in general like working at Newport-Mesa, which is great. Mr. Drake.
Good evening. I'm here to just share a little bit about summer school, and we are moving forward with plans for summer school for TK through 12th grade. And one thing I can promise you, under the direction and leadership of Dr. Hogard, our principal on special assignment, who's leading the charge here, it will be systematic and on target, as you saw from the communication that she sent Friday. And she'll be sending regular communications to all of you just to keep you abreast. One of the other aspects of summer school that maybe a lot of people don't realize is it touches absolutely every department in our district. It really is opening a school for the summer. So from maintenance operation to nutrition services to transportation to student services. They're all touched, and human resources, obviously. So Dr. Hogard really has spent her first couple of days making sure that she's touching base with all of the services, all of the departments, kind of getting a lay of the land of what the impacts will be depending on the design of the program. The other thing that she's done, and granted, I want you to recognize she started Thursday.
Thank you.
And it's just incredible the amount of work that she has gotten done between now and then. One of the first orders of business for her, along with touching base with everybody, was to start getting feedback from the community. So Dr. Hogard put together a survey for parents, for teachers, and also for our principals. And all of those went out this week. If they didn't go out yesterday, they went out over the weekend. And already getting some great response back. We had over just this morning, and it's probably more now, we had about 1,400 parents respond. And the questions were not only, are you interested or not, but what specific areas do you think we need to focus on? And out of that 1,400, over 75% are saying we are interested in having our kids attend, with their priorities being language arts first, math second, and then some sort of enrichment was a third priority for them. So we're gathering that feedback from teachers. We had over 250 teachers, or nearly 250 teachers respond. And out of that, one of the big questions was, are you interested in working? And varying degrees of how long they would be willing to work over the summer. But we had about a little over 100 teachers say for different lengths of time that they would be interested in working. So there's some good news there. And then obviously the principal piece went out, and knowing our principals, they're already done with that. I haven't yet looked at those, but I know that by the next couple of days, they'll have that done, just to give us feedback on where the kids are, what they see as the critical areas to focus on. And so along those lines, I do want to put in a little bit of a plug and just make sure everybody knows that the survey is open until Friday. It'll close Friday. We need that information. We'll grind at it over the break, I'm sure, and then really start focusing in and honing in on program design. But it is in really good hands with Dr. Hogard, and I'm really grateful to have her support here. Thank you.
Thank you. This was sent out to all the schools?
Yes, all the schools, and well, we're at elementary right now.
Okay.
Lori's in process of meeting with secondary principals. She's doing one-on-ones with all of them to get their ideas of what their needs will be, and then I'm sure something similar will go out.
Okay, great. Trustee Gray?
Yeah, I have a question. Out of the 1,400 parent responses, were you able to delineate primary versus secondary?
Yeah, so this was only, I'm sorry, thank you for clarifying. This has only gone out to elementary at this point. But we do know that we did ask them to fill one out for each of their children in elementary, and also identify the grade level that they were in, so we have an idea of grade level.
And is it across the board? Is it across the board?
Is what across the board?
Parent interest, TK through 6? At every level they're interested in?
Yeah, I haven't seen the specifics of that.
Close enough,
but
yeah.
We've got, 75%, over 75% interested.
We'll give them time to look at the data.
I know it's been 4 days, come on.
Well, they went out, I think, yesterday. So,
Oh, well
yeah.
then.
Thank you for
Thank you.
doing
That's-
that. Yeah, I'm just so excited. I mean, that's so great. I know, Trustee Matoya always teases me about surveys. I love all surveys. I love data. So thank you for that. And I'm so excited and thankful that we have Lori Hogard taking care of that. So
Me
thank
too.
you.
Thank you. We'll continue with the directors in the Ed Division. Dr. Sir.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. I'd like to give an update on our parent choice transfer process in Newport-Mesa. So we did open the first round for parent choice transfers on January 15th. That window is going to close on March 15th. And notifications will be going out to all of the individuals, all the families that have applied for a parent choice transfer no later than May 15th. So that's the first round. And then we have a second round for schools that still have openings. And that window is going to open up on June 29th, starting at 3 o'clock. And it will close July 31st at 4 o'clock. And notifications for all of our families who have applied during that second round will go out no later than August 10th. Following that, it's kind of the third part to the regular process for our parent choice transfers is we create a wait list. And that's the third level. The applications for that will be open August 14th, starting at 8 o'clock. And they'll begin to be considered August 25th, and they'll stay open on a rolling basis. So notifications for those families where we do have openings that have put in an application for the wait list, they'll start to be considered August 25th in the morning, and we'll continue to monitor those throughout the beginning of the school year for next year. On top of that, we do have tomorrow the Davis application process opening, and that window will run from tomorrow starting at 3 o'clock until March 15th at the very end of the evening. And on top of that, we do have the Mandarin immersion and Spanish immersion programs. And those are going to open up on February 15th, and those will stay open on a rolling basis as well. And as usual, I would be remiss if I didn't just simply recognize the outstanding work that Terry Russell does to stay on top of all of the applications that come through Newport-Mesa. It is a tremendous job. She's done it for a long time, and she's very good at it. So we're very thankful to have her on board leading this process.
Our two dual language programs are entering their final phase. Next year will be 6th grade, am I correct?
That is correct.
So then both of these schools will be K through 6 with dual language. It's pretty exciting. It's obviously it's taken 7 years, but what an outcome for the,
Yes.
especially for the feeder schools that the children will go to. It's pretty phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Dr. Sir, are we highlighting these programs to parents in any way?
We do. On the website, we currently have videos for both the Spanish immersion program and for the Mandarin immersion program. Director Gailey and also Laura Dale Pash have been instrumental in working closely with the Mandarin programs and doing a lot of things to get the word out to families in regards to that. And the video push, it was one thing that we were able to get up. And so those are, if you go to the district main webpage and you go to the I want to section, it just lays out if you select I want to request a transfer, all of that transfer information that I just laid out here is spelled out there, including access to the videos.
If I'm on that page right now, is there a way for the applications to, it says that they'll open, on February 15th, but it doesn't have the application on there. Is there a way to put the application on and then people would submit it? Or because one of the things that I've heard from some of the families is they like to print things out and have someone help them, particularly if they need translation assistance. So are there possibly either paper copies that would be available at Whittier or College Park for people to pick up? And or is there an option to show what's on the application so parents who need assistance filling it out would have access?
Yeah, so we can definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we can touch base with the schools regarding providing paper applications as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Dr. Sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Baumeister? What?
Trustee Ursula.
Oh, I'm sorry. While you're coming up, I'm sorry, Trustee Ursula.
No, I just had a quick question for Dr. Sir about those two elementaries that have foreign language. Which middle schools do each of them go to?
At Whittier School, the sixth graders for next year that are going to be in the Spanish program, they're going to feed to Ensign. And then for our Mandarin program at College Park, that's going to feed to Mesa. Okay. And we are in plans of beginning to have conversations about what will the options look like for our current 5th graders when they begin 7th grade, both at Ensign and Mesa Middle.
Thank you.
Dr. Baumeister.
Good evening again. I just want to give you a quick update on athletics. As you know, we welcomed our secondary students back to campus a couple of weeks ago, and as we did, we welcomed them back to the fields as well to begin workouts and practice in what we're calling limited shared equipment. But as you know, our purple tier sports, the low contact sports, have been cleared for CIF competition. So our one fall sport in the purple tier is cross country, and they will begin competition next week. And we're thrilled to see them out there competing. Our spring sports will be competing after President's Week, and they have staggered start times. So girls tennis will begin their spring season 2/22, February 22nd. Boys tennis will begin a week later, March 1st. Swimming will begin March 13th, and golf and track and field will begin their season March 20th. So those are our spring purple tail sports that will be competing in CIF competitions. Just wanted to.
And I know all our student athletes are very excited about moving to this new phase, and they can now use equipment. So instead of the football team throwing air balls, they can now throw footballs.
They can throw footballs, baseball they can play catch, basketball they can play catch. It's getting a little bit closer to the real.
It's the little things they're really excited about.
They are very excited, yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, Trustee Ursulou had a question.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm not looking in that direction, but I do have help next to me, Trustee Ursulou.
Yes, I had a quick question on the sports for Dr. Baumeister.
He's back up here.
Oh, okay. A quick question. So practices right now, are they masked or unmasked at practice?
Things masked right now.
They're masked right now. And can they play, for instance, basketball? Can basketball be scrimmaging or just?
No, they can't be scrimmaging right now. Again, with limited shared equipment, it's two kids can pass a ball back and forth. When they're done, then they have to disinfect the ball. One kid could be shooting, another kid can be rebounding, but you can't have a full team out there working out together. Same thing in baseball. Two kids can play catch, but you can't really have the whole team out there throwing the ball around.
And so who, again, is responsible for monitoring that? Who's making sure that that doesn't happen?
Directors and the principal's going out monitoring that, yes.
They're going out and doing that? Okay, thank you.
Our coaches are so happy to be at this next level that they've been very good about following the rules and regulations, and our ADs have been great about holding them to it too.
Thank you very much. Mr. Trader is anxious to come up here, so I'm inviting him.
Good evening. It's good to be with you tonight. I have to tell you, we are living the dream. It's an accounting dream, though. And because COVID has brought 10 new funding streams, and 11 if you count FEMA. And they all come with 7 different deadline dates. And they all have different strings attached to them. It's mayhem. So, but I want to let you know, with the leadership of Superintendent Lee Sung and Mr. Holcomb, we're being very strategic in how we're doing this, so we maximize it and we don't leave anything on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trader. We are so pleased you're in charge of all these new funds. And you are enjoying it. So that's, thank you. Mr. Holcomb.
The big news since our last board meeting is already pretty well publicized. The opening of the CDM sports fields has happened since our last meeting. Fantastic accomplishment after many, many years of a lot of hard work. I've been here 4 years now. It was well underway with years of work when I got here. Many of you were all part of that. So congratulations to the district. We're very happy to have it open.
We are too. Long time coming, but glad that the students are finally using the fields and enjoying them. And they are. They're all very excited about being out there. So thank you. Board member reports. Do we have anybody who has a report they want to give, as not as a committee report, but just?
I can report something.
Okay.
On behalf of our Newport-Mesa's Schools Foundation, members Anderson, Trustee Anderson, Crane, and alternate Trustee Wigand. We'd like to announce that the grants for teacher applications, this is the season. The applications are on the website, and the due date is March 5th. And the Newport-Mesa Schools Foundation has given in the past, gosh, I think they've been around 40 years. And typically, they have granted up to $100,000 a year for our teachers in the classrooms. So please, teachers, if you're out there, please go to and visit their website and apply for a grant. And the due date is March 5th, and they announced the winners of the grants in May. So thank you.
It's a great program. We will miss the dinner this year, but how are they doing that? Are there?
I don't know. Did they discuss that at our last
I believe
meeting?
it will be a virtual celebration. And then also too, if anyone from the community wants to donate too, they can go on the Newport-Mesa Schools Foundation website and donate directly. So that as well.
But it is always nice to be there with them, with the teachers when
know.
they receive their awards. So next year.
Next year. As with many things.
We will then move to committee reports. Is there a crop report?
I can give a small one. Crop is in a funny position because a lot of the funding that has come to our schools has not come to crop, and they also rely a bit on paid adult programs. They're also in a transition, and they're working hard to figure out how they can help with the credit recovery among their own students, because so many of their activities are hands-on, specifically nursing aides and veterinary aides, EMTs. Those are not really positions where students are able to volunteer, but they're getting creative, and they are working through it, and they're able to do some limited hours as well. So they're going to be adjusting their requirements for completion, and then hoping that they can pick them up in the fall as a after certification or pre-certification kind of process. So it's interesting, and they're always looking for new, especially now, looking for new community partners, community mentors for their students, because a part of what they do is that work site basis. So if there is something that can be done remotely, and you have a community, someone in the community who's in business and would be willing to sponsor, reach out to me and I'll connect you, because they could really use some more community partners to help with their training as we kind of navigate this remote world.
And I noticed on the last crop minutes that we owe you congratulations for being elected to the clerk.
Yes, I'm the clerk
of crop.
I am.
this
Thank
year.
you.
So
Thank you.
very exciting to have one of our members
Clerk of crop
on the board.
Yes, the clerk of crop.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
CAC Parent Ed Series, is there anything to report?
Trustee Crane and I attended the parent ed meeting, which was jointly put on by the Orange County Department of Ed, who spoke to drug use in our children, which is always scary when they keep telling you it gets lower and lower. And they spoke to the different devices and what to look for and how scary it is, which we all know it's scary, but you always learn something new, that people invent more ways to influence our children. So they talked about that and what to do and what to watch for. And then Care Solis did a wonderful presentation on how to access their services. It is strongly promoted on our webpage, and Care Solis it's like a resource to let you know where you're supposed to go and how, and facilitate and help you with all sorts of mental health needs. So please, it's a beautiful banner. Click on it, see what you can do. We hear how stressed everyone is, and they've got ideas and they've got people to help. And then I'll talk about the Arts Commission, because it was fabulous, and I did note, so it will not be long. First of all, I would like everyone who is still listening to please access the VAPA site, which is a Where's Waldo event in itself, We've asked for it to be called the Arts Site, but it is the VAPA, which stands for Visual and Performing Arts. That said, you go to the departments and scroll to the bottom. You don't have to do anything else, stop and nowhere else, just go straight down to the bottom. VAPA will be there. The VAPA web page, which is hosted by Teresa Schneider, one of our elementary music teacher, is phenomenal. Not only does it have a calendar of all the fabulous things that are still going on in our schools because art has not been canceled. It also has highlights for every school in our district by zone and what's going on. We heard reports from the Cloud, Back Bay Monte Vista, Newport Harbor High School, Corona Del Mar, the zone, Newport Harbor High School zone, Corona Del Mar zone, Costa Mesa High School zone, and Estancia High School zone, with all of the arts, not just music or painting. It was all of the arts that we have. We heard about dance. We heard about ceramics and music and instruments. And it was an enlightening 4 hours that just slipped by. Trustee Crane agreed to let me do this the first time, and I'll let her do the next one. There were two different awards that were frequently mentioned. One was for the children's art teachers of submitting reports, pieces to the Laguna College of Arts for awards, amongst other places. And also, ACMA is doing awards for arts educators. So if you know of an art educator, go to the OCMA website and nominate someone, because we've had several of our Newport-Mesa staff honored by them. And the fact that arts is alive and well here is fabulous. There was a lot of sharing about different software pieces that one school used that the other one didn't know about. And they were talking about what to use to accomplish what we see as, oh, look, everyone's singing in the same square, and doesn't that look nice? And we saw how it happens. And it would be a cacophony if our teachers did not put in hours and hours and hours of editing. So I thank you for them, because it comes out sounding like it was professional. We also saw evidence of some new PPE for the instrumental music. They have slits in their masks so that they can blow. And all of the woodwinds and brass that use them are either like in a little bag or have covers over the bell. And it's safe music. It's nice to know there's safe music. But in addition, all the musicians were playing probably 10 feet apart outside and they're very creative about where they go to get the best echo sounds. And one of the other wonderful highlights were the partnerships that were highlighted and what they can do for us and what we can do for them, starting with the City of Costa Mesa, City of the Arts, the Southern California Arts Program, Pacific Symphony Class Act, Arts and Learning, Segerstrom, Orange County Music and Dance, South Coast Rep, and the Laguna Playhouse. All of these people gave up 4 hours on a Saturday. All of our teachers did it for a stipend, but that's because normally they would be given a sub. So the fact that they gave up a Saturday to represent their schools was just fabulous, enlightening, and Trustee Crane and I came out saying, oh, good stuff going on in Newport-Mesa. And as you can see, I took like 8 pages of notes, so I boiled it down to that 3-minute, hopefully, statement. So thank you very much. We enjoyed it. Our next meeting is in May.
It was definitely the highlight of my week. It was so amazing just to watch these amazing teachers dedicated to their arts and to their passion. And it just really, the whole rest of the day, I was on a cloud. It was awesome.
Not the cloud, but a cloud.
Yes. Metaphorical.
And I think it's really important to share this because, as Trustee Metoyer say, the arts are alive in Newport-Mesa. We have never backed down from them, even through budget cuts and everything else. We've continued to support the arts. So
TK through high school.
Yes, it's. I think it's something we all should be very proud of. We've been doing it for I know since I've been on the board, and even
since I've been a
longer.
teacher. Yeah.
And it is something that we hopefully will never give up.
I think it's really important and awesome too that we have this. We now have, I think Bridget Duffin is doing a wonderful job as the VAPA CHOSA. And then also to have that support with Scott now being at OCDE, I think it's just a seamless transition. And so I'm so thankful too for both of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
I didn't mention her because Mrs. Ashendorf did, and so I did not give her her 2 props. She definitely deserved them.
Yes. The Ashendorfs have made their appearance tonight.
And Mrs. Duffy.
In many ways. Okay, and then we have on here superintendent student advisory, but we haven't had a meeting. I believe there's a meeting scheduled for this Thursday. And so we have not had one in between our last meetings. Is there any other committee report that anybody has? Okay.
Mrs. Yelsey, you should be very
I
proud.
want everyone to look at the clock. Okay. But I think I owe everybody a thank you for staying on task, really being, giving excellent reports and very interesting and timely reports, but really, and having great discussions. So I appreciate everyone's involvement in trying to shorten our meetings. We'll let everybody get home a little earlier tonight. And I want to thank you all. So can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Moved by trustee Crane, seconded by trustee Metoyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Just say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good night. Have a great evening.